So this is some of my least favorite math to do. I don't know what it is about this part of math that I really don't find fun or interesting, and I kind of hate it. So the problem that we have is that there's kinds of all different ways to manipulate these equations. Almost all of them are going to work off of a base rate or a base cost or a base amount, and then some sort of rate, whether that be a tip rate, whether that be a sale rate, or a markup rate. And so you just sort of have to manipulate some things. So on number 3, these are the equations that you're going to use, and I'll work through some of these with you on here. For number 3, the equation you're going to use is just that base bill price. And if you take that base price of your bill and you multiply it by the tip rate, that's going to give you the amount of your tip. So like, let's say you go out to eat at Olive Garden and you get a bill for $50 and you need to tip a 12%. You're going to take that bill, $50, multiply it by the tip rate, and that's going to give you the amount that your tip should be. So that's what we're going to use on number 3. On number 4 and then 8 and 9, I think is what your mom said you have for homework. Your equation is the sale price times the rate. And I'm assuming that that is like a sale. So from what I can tell on this chart, people earn commission. If I sell door-to-door encyclopedias, basically I would get paid based on how many of those encyclopedias that I sell, and that is called commission. If I sell well, for example, I wrote a book several years ago, and I made like 60% of the sales. So every book that I sold, if I sold it for $10, my rate would have been $6, and that amount that I get paid is called my commission. You find commission by taking your sale price times the rate of commission, and that gives you the amount that you're going to get. So we'll work one of those in just a second. Number 13 through 15, you have 2 steps actually. To find the retail cost of something, if you own a dress store, you need to sell your items for the cost. If it cost you $7 to make a dress, you obviously need to sell it for $7. But then you have this thing called your markup, and that is the percentage of profit that you make. And to find your markup, you take the cost of your item and you multiply it by the markup rate. Then to find your total retail, you need the original cost plus your markup rate. So let's just work through a couple of these together. We'll do 1, maybe 2 from each section that you have for homework. So let's look at number 3 on your chart here. You have your bill price, and then you have your tip rate. And so to do this one, to figure out how much you're going to tip someone, you need the total amount of your bill. So for number 3, that amount is $64.32. Yeah, and listen, my handwriting is already terrible, but it's worse on here. I'm going to take that original cost, that original bill, then I'm going to multiply it by the tip rate. And in this case, I'm told is 20%, but the thing is I can't work with a percent like this. So I have to convert it to a decimal, which becomes 0.2. And because I have a calculator in front of me, I'm going to type in 64.32 times 0.2, and I get $12.86. But it's specifically asking you to round it to the nearest dollar. So that's going to be a total of $13 for your tip. Okay? You're almost always going to have this pattern, a base amount times some sort of rate, whether that be a markup rate, a tax rate, a discount rate, but that's kind of the pattern we're going to use on all of these. The next section, I think you have to do number 4, 8, 9, and 10 on. And we're going to use, number 4 actually goes with number 3. You're going to work number 4 the same way. Well, then let's look at 8, 9, and 10. 8, 9, and 10. Now here's the problem. You have things from different areas. Your equation is, I'm going to write it this way. Commission equals the sales price times the rate that you're profiting, okay? So what you need to do for 8, 9, and 10 is you need to fill in the values that you have. So on 8, you have the sales price, and you have the rate, and you're told to find the commission. Well, I guess you're not really told to, but the box that's empty is your commission. So I'm going to leave commission blank because that's what I need to solve for. And now I just plug in my values. My sales is 40,009. My rate is 35%. Now remember, I can't work with a decimal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert that, I'm sorry, you can't work with a percent. I'm going to convert that percent to a decimal by moving my decimal over 2 places. And because I have a calculator, I'm going to type this in, 40,009 times 0.35, which means my total commission is 14,003.15. And it looks like you don't have to round this one. Round sales to the nearest dollar and rates to the nearest. Okay, so you can leave your commission, it looks like, in a decimal form. Let's look at number 9 and 10, and I'll get you started on those. So 9 and 10, we're going to use that same. I'm going to get you started on these two. I won't probably work it because of the time on this video. So we're going to use the equation. The sales times the rate equals the commission, and I wrote it the other direction on the other slide, but sale times rate equals commission. So just look at number 9 and see what information you have. You have your rate and your commission on number 9. So my sales is going to become my X, my unknown. My rate on number 9 is 7.75. Oh, that's terribly written. Percent. The commission, I'm going to run in a room. The commission is $974.87. I ran out of room. Now, I can't work with my percent this way. I have to convert it to a decimal by moving my decimal 1, 2 places. So what I really have is 0.0775 equals 974.87. And now I just solved for my rate by moving this over and dividing. So for number 10, I'm given my sales. I'm not given my rate. Okay? My sales are, let me look at it again, 648,913. My rate in this case is my X. And my commission, oh goodness, is 222. Forgot a 2. 16222.83. And now I just solve for X. I'm going to move this over here and I'm going to divide. Now, let's just work this one. 222.83 divided by 648.913 gives me this weird wonky number. And I think it tells me to rates to the nearest tenth. So in this case, I get 25.000, so that to me is just 25%. Okay, on this one, I'm going to divide 974.87 divided by 0.0775, and I get 12578. And it wants you to round it to the nearest cent, basically, because it's money. And I have 967, so I'm going to round that to 90.97. And that's those. 13 through 15 is going to be the two-step thing. So my first step on 13, 14, and 15, I need to kind of figure out what I have here. If on 13, I know my markup rate and I know my markup. So what I'm going to do is the first thing I'm going to do is use this equation. Cost times rate equals markup. I'm just going to abbreviate it that way. That's going to be the first equation that I need to use. So on number 13, I don't know my cost. I know my rate, though. My rate is 15%, and I know my markup. So I'm going to plug that in. I don't know my cost. My rate is 15%. I can't work with a percent. I'm going to make it a decimal. And my markup is $18. Now I can solve for my cost by dividing by 0.15. I'm multiplying on the left. When I move it over, it becomes division. Not quite sure what kind of vocabulary you're used to hearing when you talk about solving for x, but I just say the operation changes. So 18 divided by 0.15 gives me my 18 divided by 0.15, I have 120. So this is my cost. I just solved for my cost. So my second step is then to use this equation. Retail, these are not equations, they are formulas, I'm sorry. You probably don't care that I said that the wrong way, but there you go. Retail is the cost plus the markup. Well, we just found the cost to be 120. We're told the markup is $18. So I just simply add that, 120 plus 18, and my retail price of this item is going to retail for $138. 14 and 15 are going to be worked in that same fashion. You're going to fill in those equations. Always start with this equation. Cost times the rate equals the markup. Don't know why that didn't finish my M. Then use this equation. Retail equals the cost plus the markup. So on 14 and 15, just pay attention to what you have, solve for what you don't have, and then that will fill in those boxes. If you work those problems and want to send me a picture of it, I'll check it real quick for you.